Welcome back to the YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be doing something slightly different that I've been thinking about for quite some time. You guys already know how much I love working on my setup, tinkering and playing with different lights, lenses, cameras, and seeing how it affects the overall look of my production. I've always been a massive fan of studio tours on YouTube, so in today's video we're going to take a look at some of my favorite creators, analyze their setups and see what we could be doing better. So without any further ado, let's take a look at our first creator.
What up guys, my name is ttibear and welcome to finally...
Okay, so our first creator is called ttibear, and I was actually on a live stream with him last year talking about different gimbals. Since then, I've been a huge fan and I've been watching his channel grow. He's currently on 20,000 subscribers and his channel focuses mainly on videography, cameras and camera tech. And if you're interested in that, you should go check him out. There's a link to his channel in the video description. So let's take a look at his setup. So firstly, in his video description, it gives you a list of some of the kit that he uses. So that gives us an insight into how he's achieving this look. He says he's using the Canon R5, the Deity D3, and the 16 to 35mm 2.8 Canon lens. So looking at ttibear's setup as a whole, I really like the overall look. We've got the ttibear branding in neon lights over his head on that back wall. Love that. We've got those nano leaf style panels over in the corner. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but they definitely add something to his setup. We've also got that nice purple glow coming from behind his monitor, similar to how my blue glow is behind my monitor. And for his key light, I'm not sure what cob light he's using, but I'm pretty sure he is using a cob light because I've seen a gigantic parabolic softbox that is in his office. And then we've got that nice dark brown desk, which is a nice contrast to the rest of the setup. I'm not a massive fan of the two light bulbs that are just hanging down in the frame. I don't really see the point of them, but it is nice to have something on the right hand side of the frame and something that mimics it on the left hand side of the frame. Talking about the left hand side of the frame, I love that he's got what looks like an electric skateboard mounted to his wall. It's a really nice personal touch that shows you what he's interested in outside of YouTube. And then you can see on the right hand side of the frame we've got this massive great big black curtain. That's most likely serving a couple of different purposes. I imagine the first one is he's hiding something that he doesn't want the audience to see. I'm not talking about dead bodies, it's probably just boxes that products have come in. The second reason I imagine he's using it is because it's going to stop the reflections of his audio. It's going to act as a sound blanket. It might even be there specifically for that reason, to stop the echo and the reflections of his voice. Let's talk about his clothing as well. He's wearing a black, I think it's black or grey and yellow hoodie, which really makes him pop out from the frame. It's completely different to everything else around him. I like that. I need to go clothes shopping. So is there anything I'd suggest to make this setup look better? For me, what I'd like to do is just push the whole setup a little bit further back so we get rid of whatever that is on the wall and everything else in the frame will just grow a little bit more. Secondly, I don't see a hair light. I mean, the ttibear neon light is kind of acting like a hair light, but I want to see on his left-hand side of his head, I want to see a little bit of a glow that just will help him pop out a little bit more. And lastly, his key light I think is just a little bit too hot. It just needs to dial it back 5 or 10%. On the whole though, I think his setup looks great, his content is great. If you haven't watched his channel, go over and take a look. Right, let's move on to creator number 2. So I've known about Ben for quite a long time. He makes quite similar videos to me, teaching other creators how to make their videos look better. And one of the main reasons I really like Ben's content is because no two videos ever really look the same. He doesn't have a standard setup. He doesn't have a standard look. Every video he makes is completely unique. And I don't think people understand just how hard that is to do. But in this video, we're going to be analysing this look because it's one of my favourites that he's ever created. According to the video description, Ben is using an A7 III, a 16-35 f4 Sony Zeiss lens, a Rode USB NT microphone, which I don't actually think he is using in this video, but I'm not sure what microphone he is using. And going off of his other videos, I'd assume that the light he's using is a Photo Diox flapjack. So let's talk about some of the things I really like about Ben's setup. Firstly, it looks like every single thing in his shot is deliberate. From the coffee cup to the plant pot to the lenses he's got on his shelf and even down to the Love View weddings, which is obviously a little bit of product placement for what he does for a living. The lighting is spot on. You'd expect that because a lot of Ben's videos are about lighting, but I think the lighting setup in this video is relatively simple. I think it's just that one Photo Diox flapjack light which is lighting him, and it's also spilling onto that back wall, and then we've just got the one practical light bulb which is on his desk. Strike that. You can also see a tiny bit of light on the top of his chair which is acting as his hair light, so he's obviously got something over behind him which is lighting up the back of his head as well. The way the light from that light bulb is spilling onto the wall behind his Mac and spilling onto his really dark desk is just giving you a really homey, comfy, warm, snuggly feeling. And this is a wide shot. This is a really wide shot. I'd love to see what is this side of the camera, which is hiding from the viewer, because there's probably coffee cups and all sorts of stuff like I've got over there. Setting up a shot this wide and still having it look this tidy and this neat is no easy feat. The audio, as you'd expect, is really nice. It's coming from a microphone that is directly in front of his mouth, but I cannot figure out what that microphone is. I don't think it is the Rode NT USB microphone, just because it's got an XLR lead coming out the back of it. And the Rode wouldn't. Something else we have to talk about is his chair. It's a Herman Miller chair. I know because I was looking at them before I bought my Secret Labs chair. They're not cheap. If you're going to be sat at a desk all day, editing, working on video, then the best investment you can make is in a chair. Don't get a massive flashy monitor. Don't get LED lights before you've got a good chair. This is a lesson I have learned the hard way. Is there anything I'd suggest to improve this shot? No. Simply, I think it's beautiful. Okay, let's move on to our next creator, Mr. Who's the Boss.
The iPhone 14s are official, and this is my brutally honest take on them. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start with the good.
If you don't know who Mr. Who's the Boss is, where have you been? Aaron has been making videos on YouTube pretty much since the start of YouTube. He's got more phones than Apple, more nano leaves than any one human needs, and is essentially the king of tech reviews. Well, it's probably a close tie between him and Marques Brownlee. He's got 11.5 million subscribers. Let's take a look at some of the kit that he uses to make his videos. In his video description, it says that he's using the Ursa Mini Pro, which in a really old studio tour that he did, he was using that camera then. So he hasn't upgraded his camera in about 6 or 7 years. Although also in his video description, it says that he's using the A7S III. I wonder which one it is. The only lens he's got listed is the Sigma 18-35mm 1.8. I would imagine he's got a hell of a lot more lenses than that, but that might be the lens that he uses for his main static shot. We've got a bit of information about lighting here as well. He uses the Aperture 120D, which is a very nice cob light, a Light Dome 2, again made by Aperture. He is also in a Herman Miller chair, but we don't have any information about audio. Something you will notice with Aaron is there are so many cuts in his video, and it's quite hard to pause the video in a spot where you can actually see his whole setup because he's constantly changing what he's showing you, keeping you engaged. Have you ever seen those videos where they put words on the screen really quickly but somehow you're still able to read them? That's what Aaron's videos are like for me. There's so much information and it's all crammed into this 10-minute video. And you really feel like you're going on a journey with him. And you'll notice the difference between the first two videos and this one in how much they are on that main camera. Both Ben Johnson and ttibear are on the screen quite a lot, whereas Mr. Who's the Boss, it's hard to see him because he's always putting other information over himself. So let's dive into this setup. We've got two, I'm gonna say 50-inch TVs behind him. Wonder where he got that idea. Let's not talk about it. And I think there's a smaller screen behind him, like directly behind it. The really nice thing about using a screen as a background is you can display anything you want on it. In this video, he's just displaying his logo, but it gives him the flexibility to make his space really transform with every different idea he has. And he can go from quite a subtle look like this to quite a mad look like this. You can tell that this space was custom built to make YouTube videos in this style. Again, he's got some kind of lighting like a nanoleaf above his screens. In his video description it says they are nanoleafs, but I've not actually seen that style before. And again, this gives him the flexibility to change the look of his space almost immediately. You can see that on the top of his hair there's a little bit of an accent light. So somewhere in this shot he's got a hair light which is making him pop out of that frame. And front on, he's probably using that aperture 120D with the light dome too. I would assume that light is up to his right hand side, our left hand side, but I'd say it's a little bit hot, and I always think this in his videos. I think that light is just a bit too bright. When you start to see that shiny reflection on someone's face, I'd say that light is set too bright. But he's been using this light for a long time, he knows what he likes, and he's great at what he does. Overall, I'm a massive, massive fan of this look, and you can probably tell by the look of my set that I was quite inspired by his channel. If you like this video, let me know in the comment section below whose channel you'd like me to take a look at next. I really appreciate all of these content creators. I'm a massive fan. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for watching. See you again next time.